Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening whenever you watch this video. I, Catherine, with my group mates, Yunita and Vanessa, are the members of Group 1 in Intermediate Accounting 1 class taught by Mr. Ahmad Adri. In this video, we are going to present the summary of PSAK 1 and PSAK 14. First, before we move to the main content in this video, which is the summary of PSAK 1 and PSAK 14, let's have a brief introduction to PSAK first. PSAK stands for Pernyataan Standar Akuntansi Keuangan. PSAK is a guideline used to prepare financial statements based on applicable accounting standards. So PSAK is actually a kind of rule of accounting in Indonesia. It tells us how to prepare financial statement properly. It sets the basics for reporting financial statements and so on. And the PSAK itself is created and developed by an accounting board in Indonesia called Dewan Standar Akuntansi Keuangan in an association of accountant of Indonesia called Ikatan Akuntan Indonesia. Okay, so before we move to the main content of this video, I would like to let you know that since PSAK is an Indonesian product, so it is originally written in Indonesian. So although this video will be conducted in English, but we will still use the term of PSAK without translating it. Okay, now let's move to the main topic. The first one is PSAK 1, about presentation of financial statement. Now let's find out the purpose of PSAK 1. PSAK 1 is the guidelines for the presentation of general purpose financial statements so that the financial statements can be compared with other entities and with the previous period. So the PSAK 1 is actually telling accountants about how to present the financial statements, such as explaining the requirements, structures, and so on. Then we can conclude the overview of PSAK 1. So PSAK 1 will explain about requirements for the presentation of financial statements, the structure of financial statements, the minimum requirements for the contents of financial statements, and the contents of financial statement itself. And the content of PSAK 1 will be explained by my group mate Yunita.
Okay, I will explain about the financial statement. Okay, financial statements are written records that convey the business activities and the financial performance of companies. Next. The purpose of financial statements. That financial statement provides information about the financial position, financial performance, and cash flows of an entity that is useful to most users of financial statement in making economic decisions. So here in charge of providing information is the company to stakeholders or the stakeholders in the company. Next. Responsibility for financial statement is entity management is responsible for the preparations and presentation of the entity's financial statement. Entity management here is the management of a company. Next. General characteristic of financial statement. So there is several general characteristic of financial statement. First is fair presentation and compliance with SAK. So the presentation of financial statement must be done honestly, make explicit and without exception statement to SAK in CALK, and can correct inappropriate accounting policies. Second is about business continuity. Fiscal statement must be prepared based on the going concern assumption. If there is uncertainty about going concern, the company must disclose this matter. The basis for presenting the financial statement and the reason. Third is about the accrual basis. The entity prepares financial statement on the accrual basis except for statement of cash flow. On the accrual basis, revenues or expense are recognized when they are incurred. Fourth is about materiality and amalgamation. For materiality, the entity presents separately a group of similar items that are materials. Meanwhile, the purpose of merging is a separate group based on the nature or function. If the value is immaterial, the presentation can be combined with other similar items in the financial statement or presented separately in the notes to the financial statement. Fifth is about delete each other. Entities may not offset assets and liabilities or income and expense unless required or permitted by a PSAK. Sixth is about reporting frequency. Entities are required to present complete financial statement at least on an annual basis. If the end of the reporting period change, the entity shall disclose the reason for using that period and the fact that the amounts presented in the financial statements are not comparable in their entirety. Seventh is about comparative information. There are two different classifications of comparative information. They are comparative minimum requirements and voluntary comparative information supplement. Last is about serving consistency. The presentation and the classification of items in the financial statement between periods is carried out consistently, except for after a significant change in the nature of the entity's operation or a review of the financial statements, and then it becomes clear that other presentation or classification would be more appropriate to use by accounting police. In PSAK 25. Next. Next will be presented by Vanessa.
The next is the component of financial statement. A complete set of financial statement compromise first a statement of financial position at the end of the period. A statement of financial position or a balance sheet shows a snapshot of a company's assets, liabilities, and shareholders' equity at the end of the reporting period. It does not show the flows into and out of the accounts during the period. Next is a statement of profit and loss and other comprehensive income for the period. The purpose of the statement of profit or loss and the other comprehensive period is to show an entity's financial performance in a way that is useful to a wide range of users. The statement should be classified and aggregated in a manner that it makes understandable and comparable. Next is a statement of change in equity for the period. A statement of change in equity, also referred to as a statement of retained earnings, is a business financial statement that measures the change in owner's equity throughout a specific accounting period. It covers the following elements: net profit or loss, dividend payments. Next is a statement of cash flow for the period. The statement of cash flow, also referred to as the cash flow statements, is one of the three key financial statements that report the cash generated and spent during a specific period of time. It provides aggregate data regarding all cash inflows a company receives from its ongoing operational and external investment source. Next is not compromising a summary of significant accounting policies and other explanatory information. Is a section of the footnotes that accompanies entities' financial statements describing the key policies being followed by the accounting department. The summary is usually placed at or near the beginning of the footnotes. And last but not least is a statement of financial position at the beginning of the earliest comparative period. Comparative information represent the amounts and disclosure included at the consolidated annual accounts for one or more previous periods, and provides in-user information necessary to identify trends and change affecting an entity over a period of time. Next. Next is going to be explained by my friend.
Okay, that was all about the summary of PSAK 1 about the presentation of financial statements. Now we move to the second topic, which is the summary of PSAK 14 about inventory. Now let's find out the purpose first. The purpose of PSAK 14. So PSAK 14 is the guidelines for the accounting of inventory. It regulates the accounting treatment for inventory. So it actually tells accountant about how to account for inventory, including how to find the cost of inventory, for example, or maybe how to report inventory and so on. Then we can conclude that the overview of PSAK 14 will be, the PSAK 14 will tells accountant about practical guidance in costing and recognizing expense, the guidance about how to assign cost to inventories, and the net realizable value. Next, for the content of PSAK 14 will be presented by my group mates Yunita.
Next is about inventory. So inventory is an asset that available for sale in the normal course of business. Inventory is an asset that in the process of production and or in a transit or in the form of materials or supplies for use in production process of service delivery. So inventories includes goods purchased and held for resale, finished goods that have been produced, or work in process that is being produced by the company, and includes materials and equipment to be used in the production process. Next. Inventory measurement. So inventory should be measured at cost or net realizable value, whichever is lower, or the lower of cost and net realizable value. Next. Purchase fee. So the purchase fee includes important duties and tax, others like expect those which the companies can charge back to tax office, and the cost of transportation, handling, and other costs directly attributable to the acquisition of finished goods, materials, and service. There's also discount rate, that means rebates and other similar items are deducted in the determine the purchase cost. In rare circumstances, purchase cost will include foreign exchange that arise directly in the acquisition of inventories that are built in foreign currency is allowed as an alternative treatment as described in the Statement of Financial Accounting Standard number 10 about internal transaction foreign currency. The difference in foreign exchange is limited to those arising from devaluation or depreciation of a currency that is quite large and against events. Next. Next is about conversion fee. So conversion fee, inventory conversion cost includes cost directly related to unit produced and the fixed and variable manufacturing overhead cost allocated systematically, which occurs in the process of converting materials into finished goods. Fixed manufacturing overhead costs are indirect production costs that relatively constant regardless of the volume of production produced, such as depreciation and maintenance of factory buildings and equipment, and cost factory management and administration. Last is variable manufacturing overhead costs, are costs that change directly or almost directly following the change volume of production, such as indirect materials and indirect wages. The allocation of fixed manufacturing overhead costs to conversion costs is based on normal capacity of production facilities. Normal capacity is the average production that expected to be achieved over a period or season under normal circumstances, taking into account the loss of capacity during plant maintenance. Next. Okay, next. When conversion costs can be spreadly identified, the costs are allocated between products rationally and consistently. Allocation, for example, can be done based on the comparison of selling price for each product, both at the production process, at which time the product is spreadly identifiable, or when production has been complete. Next. Next is miscellaneous expense. Its other costs are only expense as inventory costs to the extent that they are arise so that the inventory is in a condition and place that is ready for sale or use. Some examples of costs that are excluded from the cost of inventory and recognized as an expense in the period in which they are incurred are: first, the amount of waste materials, wages, or other production costs that are not normal. Second, storage costs, unless they are necessary in the production process before proceeding to the next stage of production. Third, administrative and general expense that don't contribute to keep the inventory in its current location and condition. Last is selling costs. In certain circumstances, borrowing costs are included at the cost of inventories in accordance with the statement of financial accounting of the service provision inventory cost. Next. Service provision inventory costs. Service company inventory costs mainly includes wages and personnel costs. Others who directly handle the delivery of service, including supervision and attributable overhead. Wages and other related costs, sales, personnel, and general administration are not included as expense inventory, but they are recognized as an expense in the period in which they are incurred. Next, there is cost measures techniques. Inventory costing techniques such as the standard cost method or the method retail. The retail method is often used in retail trade to assess inventory of a large number of items that change rapidly and have a margin which are not much different, so that it is impractical to use the determination method. Other costs. Inventory cost is determined by a subtraction in the selling price inventory at the appropriate gross margin percentage. The percentage used with respect to impaired inventories below the normal selling price. Next. Inventory costs for goods that normally cannot be replaced with good others, and the goods and service produced and segregate for specific projects should be taken into account on the basis of identification specific to their respective cost. The cost of inventory shall be calculated by using the first in first out or FIFO cost formula, weighted average cost method, or last in last out method, or LIFO. The FIFO formula assumes that the first item in inventory purchase will be sold or used first, so that what is left in the ending inventory is that which is purchased or produced later. With the cost formula weighted average, the cost of each item is determined based on the average cost weighted items of similar items at the beginning of the period and the cost of similar item purchased or produced during the period. The average calculation can be done manually or periodically or upon receipt of a shipment, depending on the circumstance. Last, LIFO formula assumes that the goods purchased or produced last sold or used first, so that what is included in the ending inventory is what was previously purchased or produced. Next will be explained by my friends.
Next is net realizable value or NRV. NRV is a valuation method common in inventory accounting that considers the total amount of money an asset might generate upon its sale, less a reasonable estimate of the cost, fees, and tax associated with that sale or disposal. Estimates of NRV are based on most reliable evidence available at the time the estimate is made of the amount of inventories that are expected to be realizable. This estimate considers price fluctuation or cost directly related to events that occur after the end of the period, as long as those events confirm conditions that existed at the end of the period. The net realizable value has been determined must be reviewed in each subsequent period. If the conditions that previously resulted in the write-down of inventories below cost are no longer valid, the amount of the write-down shall be reversed in such a way that the new carrying amount of inventories is the lower cost or the revised net realizable value. This occurs, for example, if an item in inventory which stated at net realizable value because its selling price has decreased. It's still on hand in the next period and its selling price has increased. The way to know the amount of NRV is expected selling price minus the total production and selling cost. Next is expense recognition. Expense recognition is the act of converting an asset into an expense. If inventories are sold, the carrying amount of the inventories is recognized as an expense in the period in which revenue is recognized. Any write-down of inventories below cost to net realizable value in all loss on inventories must be recognized as an expense in the period which the write-down or loss occurs. Any recovers are recognized as a reduction to the amount of inventory expense in the period which the recovery occurs. The process of recognizing the carrying amount of inventories that have been sold as an expense results in matching expense with revenues. Some inventories may be allocated to other asset accounts, such as inventories used as components of self-constructed property, plant, or equipment. Inventories allocated to other assets in this way are recognized as an expense over the useful life of assets. Next. Next is disclosure. The required disclosure are accounting policies for inventories. The carrying amount generally classified as merchandise, supplies, materials, work in progress, and finished goods. The classification depends on what is appropriate for the entity. Next is carrying amount of any inventories carried at fair value less to cost to sell. Next is the amount of any written inventories recognized as an expense in the period. Next is the amount of any reversal of a write-down to NRV and the circumstances that led to such reversal. Next is carrying amount of inventories pledged as security for liabilities, and last but not least is the cost of inventories recognized as expense or cost of goods sold. That is for our presentation from Group 1. Thank you for watching.